Hello everybody, welcome to the Old Gold and Black. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any future videos. This is the third and final part in this little series of Player of the Seasons. If you want to see the others, there'll be links up there somewhere. I've looked statistically at them and then from the heart who I think have been the best three players this season. But these are the three players who I think have been underappreciated by Wolves fans this season, but have been fantastic this season as well. So the first one of those is Johnny. Johnny Castro Otto came from Atletico Madrid in the summer, having been signed from Celta Vigo. He never played for Atletico Madrid. He was loaned to us, and of course we signed him in January for about 15 million. And he's been superb, I think. The way he reads the game, defensively, I think he's the best fullback that we've got at the club. I know that lots of people prefer Vinagre because of his flair and his attacking capabilities, and I think we will start seeing Vinagre play more next season, but possibly in a more advanced role. Johnny has proved though that he can play both left back and right back, and he's been steady throughout this season. I think he's been a little bit like Kevin Foley used to be like, or those sort of fullbacks that we've had in the past who were just steady. Lee Naylor, who will just play every game, 7 out of 10 every game. It's hard to believe that he's only 24 as well, because he looks like he's about 35, but he's got a lot of time left. He's tiny as well, but he's so strong, and I think that he's been one of our best players this season. But I think a lot of people have sort of looked over him because obviously Vinagre is the more attractive player to watch because of his step overs and his pace and his flair. But Johnny's been fantastic, I think. Now, the next player has come in for quite a little bit of stick recently as well, but if we think back to the beginning of the season, I think he's won us probably 10 points, you could argue, single-handedly, and that's Rui Patricio. It's hard to believe that he's one of our underrated players or underappreciated players. We signed him for 18 million, I think it was, once it got settled in court from Sporting Lisbon. He's kept the most clean sheets for a Wolves goalkeeper in the Premier League, which is a record in itself. Of course, it's not just down to him, it's down to his defence as well, which we'll come to in a minute. But some outstanding individual performances and saves against Manchester City from Raheem Sterling. And then I remember a couple against Crystal Palace as well. There will be many, many others that have escaped me at this time. But he was integral in that beginning of the part of the season when we were coming under a lot more pressure than we do nowadays. We were conceding a lot more chances at the first half of the season, and he was kept very, very busy, but was able to come up with some amazing saves just out of nowhere. Even in the Southampton game recently, when we were under pressure at 3-1, he made an incredible save to keep the score somewhat respectable. Of course, people have been critical about him because of how he comes and flaps at crosses sometimes and looks a little bit weak, particularly the game against Cardiff in November, where he was pushed over basically for their equalising goal. You cannot deny we have a superb goalkeeper. Some people have been talking about how we might need to buy another goalkeeper in the summer to try and challenge Patricio or to replace Patricio, but I actually think that we need to be worried about him going somewhere else. I think Spurs are looking for a new goalkeeper to replace Lloris, and I think they could be earmarking Patricio for that role. However, the biggest downfall of Patricio has been his kicking. He's often, when he's passing out to Doherty on the right hand side, it goes out of play, or it's just not good enough. It doesn't reach halfway and puts us under pressure. And the final underappreciated player for me has to be Ryan Bennett. I think the transition he's made from the Championship to the Premier League has been very, very good and has been sort of not spoken about a lot, but at the beginning of the season he was our most experienced player in the Premier League, having played 40 odd times I think it was for Norwich, but he came under some criticism around about November time. He was taken out of the team for Romain Saiss for the Cardiff game and then came back in for the Chelsea game a couple of days later, and Wolves were on this terrible run. They were already 1-0 down from a deflected Ruben Loftus-Cheek shot. But then Willian was through on goal to make it 2-0, and he would have made it 2-0. But out of nowhere came Ryan Bennett with a season-defining block. I think if that goal goes in and Chelsea win that game, our season is completely different. It's such a massive moment, and perhaps in a couple of weeks when I look back at the season as a whole, I will think about that moment and think that our season turned on that moment. I think it's not overstating it to say that. But also in recent games, he's proved to be a steady centre-back in the Premier League. We could do a lot worse than having Ryan Bennett in our defence. And it will be very interesting to see what happens next year, because there's no doubt that we will strengthen in the centre-back positions, and whether he's able to keep his place is up for question. But considering we bought him for free in 2017, the contribution he's made to this team. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below your underrated player of the season or underappreciated player of the season. Who's stood out for you that perhaps nobody else seems to be talking about? So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it around as well if you like. And I'll see you tomorrow for a look back on some of my favourite home moments of the season. Thank you. Goodbye.